The reason I'm going to jump right into it is because I was already searching for a graphic for this episode, where obviously we're going to be talking about Maul Shadow Lord episodes 9 and 10 finale.
Yes.
And you had said last night that you had posted something on our TikTok page, and it was getting a bunch of views and it was getting good engagement. And I had not seen it until after I pulled the graphic I was going to use for our YouTube cover art.
Yes.
And great minds think alike,
That
because
was the shot.
it was that exact shot.
Yes.
And for anybody that doesn't know what we're talking about, there is a shot where I think it's the Inquisitors, the Jedi, Maul. Is Vader in that one?
Vader's not a part of that
Okay,
one.
that was because that's before they come across him.
Yes.
And everybody is like, it's just perfect. It's a perfect shot. I don't know how to describe it.
Everyone's attacking and defending at the same time, protecting each other. But it's so good.
It's rectangular. It's just everything is lined up perfectly. You see
Yes.
everyone, everything. It is immaculate. It's much like, I have to say, these two episodes.
I have very few complaints, if any, on these two episodes, and the internet agrees. Episode 9 is a 9.6. Episode 10 is a 9.8.
Yeah. So where we left off kind of is, I mean, again, we had basically a lot of stuff had happened, because you had Maul takes Devon. I mean, this is like 7, 8, 9, 10. It's like Maul takes Devon and Riley back to his ship. Devon tells Riley not to hurt Maul. They talk about his master. Lawson and Docky are on the run looking for the kids. Devon and Riley are trying to run. Maul confronts him, begging her to come with him. Devon once again squares off against Maul. Stormtroopers arrive. Devon helps Maul fight them. You can start to see like him always kind of putting himself in the role of like, we'll fight together and I'm going to kind of show, like, kind of as an apprentice master, which is where they're leading to.
But also
We
like a
get,
mentor. Like
yes.
it's not strictly master apprentice. It's more of a mentor type role. That's the
Well,
angle he's
he's very much
taking.
easing her into
Yes.
you can go from your mentor to me.
Yes.
This will be an easy transition. Just, we get the 11th brother, and I think that was 7. Um, Basically, they all kind of reunite, and kind of Rookcast is still asking, what's your obsession with Devon? Like, what is going on? You can see Two Boots at that point, starting to have his doubts about the Empire being great. The Inquisitors kill one of the Maul brothers. Maul looks like he's going to surrender, but he brings down the cave on the Inquisitors. Then you have then we have the episode 8, where Maul is kind of confronted by his younger self as he tries to get
Yes.
back to his group, which was an amazing, I think, um, amazing episode, because that's, I don't know if Palpatine sent those visions to Maul, because one could make the argument that Palpatine was sending the visions to Anakin when he was like having the nightmares of Padme dying in
Dying.
childbirth,
Yeah.
and really kind of starting to like work on him, and knowing that they're kind of connected with that person. It just kind of made me wonder if that was kind of not just Maul and his doubt. I don't want to say his doubt in his struggle, but was that there's some underlying darkness going on even behind that, trying to weaken him and trying to cause him doubt? Because at this point, the Empire knows Maul's there,
Yeah.
which means, especially by the end of 9, when we see Vader, clearly Sidious, Palpatine
They're
is
taking
there.
him seriously.
Right.
Like you sent two Inquisitors, not one.
Right.
And then you're like, you know what? You know what? You know who we should send instead of a third Inquisitor? Let's just send rookie Vader out here.
Right. Like
They
enough
are
with
taking that
all of
Maul threat seriously.
right, enough with all of these like
Enough sidekicks.
enough with bench players. Let's put in the all star. Like
Right.
this is yeah. So that's that episode we deal with Maul. And again, I'm not fully convinced that it isn't part of Sidious not sending him sort of things to doubt himself because it really kind of almost breaks him down
Yeah.
in those moments. Like you really aren't sure. I mean, we know he's going to make it back, but you're kind of led with like, ooh, like he's looking a little. This
He's
is about
looking
the
rough.
weakest
He's
we've
looking
ever seen him all.
compromised, weak. Yeah.
Right. So, um,
You also get to see it's a good point of view, and I think Star Wars has done a good job of this, showing that even the people on the dark side are still
compromised.
manipulated.
Yes.
He was a child and he
Yes.
was taken similar to how the Jedi do it, but his master was, more aggressive and worse. But he, like, who knows what path he could have taken, but this is the path he was put on, and he was trained to be this killer and then was cast aside when he got, I mean, everyone thought he was dead, but he was cast aside when he was cut in half and kind of just they moved on from him. Like,
Right.
and you saw that kind of at the begin in those visions and those
Yeah.
flashbacks.
It's just really great.
Yeah.
Eventually, you have it where the everybody kind of does come back together again, but you have at the end of eight, you have Dryden Voss kind of reach out through Vario saying that he wants to meet Maul. And what we do discover is that Dryden Voss is like, listen, I'll get you off of Janix, but
But
I've seen your work. I'm a fan of it, and what I need
right.
you to do is I need you to take over from Boss Renturo, and I need control of Crimson Dawn, which we know how that works out.
Now there's a gap because by the time we see Dryden Voss again in Solo, hot take, underrated. Definitely some missteps that they could have made it better, but every time I
Sure.
watch it, I'm like, you know what? I treated you too harshly. But by the time we get to Solo, Dryden Voss is not in control. It's Maul. So, and season three has already been greenlit. So I'm assuming that at some point we're going to find out, like, obviously Maul completes the job, but it's like, Kingslayer, he goes and slays the king and then puts himself on the Iron Throne.
Yeah, and goes, why? If I've been able to do all this on my own, why am I not king? Like
Right.
this is crazy. Like, why am I working for some other guy
Yeah.
when he needs my
He
help?
need
He needs
yes.
me more than I need him, kind of
Yes.
thing. So, yes. So we know that like I said, we know how it eventually works out. But yes, he's very much willing to take that deal from Dryden Voss. Um, great great scenery that they put them all in to have these fights first against the Inquisitors that show up
Yes.
and fight them. Just the lightsaber action that you just sometimes you lose yourself and forget that it's animation. I'm not gonna lie, like it's
100%.
it's great. You you can't I don't know how anybody would look away like I if you looked at your phone at any moment during that it's like then you need to check yourself into some sort of hospital because I don't see how it just wasn't like great stuff. But again, they used it very well because I have seen other people say like as good as lightsaber action duels can be, if you were to just keep at them over and over and over again, it would get tedious and monotonous. And they do break up the action really well with
Yes.
you have Riley, Lawson, and Two Boots and Vario off doing one thing. You have the Jedi and Maul fighting Wizard. You have all of this stuff. You have the last Maul brother sacrificing himself, which again, I believe his what was the witch, the mother that brought
Towson, Mother Towson.
she had basically told that group and I forget what their actual like name, the guys with the horns, I forgot what I don't say alien group that, but
Yeah,
that group of basically tells them that like you have to protect Maul at all costs.
yeah.
And now you kind of see all of them sacrificing themselves and going on suicide missions to, in fact, keep Maul going. And
Zabaraks. They
yeah,
are.
Zebrex,
Yeah.
to keep them alive or to keep him alive specifically and keep going. So it's like, as much as the Mandalorians were kind of all in it for themselves, the Zabraks are very much like, this is our Messiah and we're getting
Yes. Yes, they are very loyal to the mission.
yes.
Good for them. And like you said, just that lightsaber battle was great. And yeah, you always say, I wish we could have more of this. But if it was just a continuous shot, eventually, yeah, you would get bored. And I don't mean like, oh, this is lame, but like once you see it so much. But I think what they did was so good, bringing that battle into a dark, contained space, having the non-lightsaber users kind of go to the other side of the cave and shooting the lasers from across, which just added to the color scheme and all of that. And then just seeing, I was watching it with my 7-year-old, and he had asked me earlier when the Inquisitors were fighting Maul, he's like, why are they fighting each other if they're all bad guys? I was like, oof, how do I how do I get into this one? Because like Inquisitors are bad. Maul is bad. They are fighting each other. And I'm like, well, sometimes the two bad guys are still like that was like sometimes you're evil for different reasons is what I broke it down. But
Right.
it was cool seeing Maul team up with Daki and Devon we'd already seen, but all of them kind of come into an agreement of like, yeah, we don't like each other. We don't trust each other. Daki
The
wants to
enemy
arrest
of my
him.
enemy is my friend.
Yes, they knew
It's
they
that
had to work together, and it
it's
was
that
beautiful to see.
right, because like early on it had very much been established that Maul was no fan of the Empire. Like he
Yes,
hates the Empire as much as the Empire hates him and wants him gone. And the Jedi hate the Empire and the Empire hates me. Like again, the enemy of my enemy. And at that moment, Daki and Devon are like, well, my enemy is also the enemy of that. So
we're
right
all
now we
trying to
can be
get off
friends.
this planet, so we might as well team up.
Right, right. We can
That,
part
like,
ways later, but
yeah,
right now we've just got to be alive,
yeah.
you
And
know?
you see, even he was giving some respect because when Rook was like, I forgot what she said exactly, but he was like, listen, this is Jedi Master. Like, show some respect. Like, he had, as much as he hates everything that the Empire and the Jedi represent, he at least can acknowledge and show some respect to the institution, I guess you will. But I also realized, yeah, Rook was getting increasingly frustrated because
Sure.
they were trying to leave. Like, she didn't care about Devon, and they could have left the planet 4 times previously, and
Mhm.
each time they delayed it for Devon, it just kept getting harder and harder to leave. Like good for her standing 10 toes down. She questioned Maul, but she didn't like betray him. The
Right,
other mercenary Mandalorians they did, they obviously died. But I liked seeing that even though she was loyal, she was willing to question him like, dude, we could have been galaxies away by now. And you
right.
keep saying, I gotta come back for Devon. And then Devon shows up and then doesn't take your offer. And then she leaves. And it's like, oh, well, we tried. He's like, no, 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 we gotta try one more time. And just kept delaying it. So I like what they did with her character, making her loyal, but not making her just dumb. Like she was like, dude, we gotta go.
And making it, pointing it out to us, the audience, that yeah, there is an obsession there, and you're not wrong to be like, this is it weird that he's got this obsession for her? It's like, am I
Yeah.
the only thing with this? Like, no, we're all acknowledging that Maul is obsessed with this Jedi in particular and making her his apprentice for whatever reason. I mean, we'll thankfully the story will continue, so we're going to see where this goes. But he very much sees something in her that he is ready to exploit for his own gain and whatever that
Yes.
is. And maybe she's the one that helps him become leader of Crimson Dawn. Um, but yeah, so at the end of 9, we are in a nice little swampy area, reminiscent of Luke and um Yoda's.
Yes.
Um, and out of the fog, you hear the breathing.
So good. I would say there has not been a single time that Darth Vader has come back that has disappointed me. In animation, in the video games that I've played that have come out in the last few years, and the shows, like when they bring him back, they do it right. I know there were some people that didn't like some aspects of him in Kenobi, and there was a couple things where I was like, I don't know if Vader would do that. But overall, they have done a phenomenal job and just making him dark and menacing and scary and more powerful than everyone else, minus Sidious, to the fact that he's taking on these guys 1v3 and he's using one hand. Like, to let you know that if he really, like, he is already sizing them up and is like, okay, I've got this. I'm gonna use one hand. And was putting in work. Like, it's
Yeah,
just so good. And he didn't say a word.
didn't say a word. And I love that. I saw a lot of discourse online too about the fact that Maul ran and everybody's like the true. I will say again, the true fans of Star Wars were like, "What are you talking about? Of course he ran from like he knows we won't survive this. I'm
Yeah,
hurt. I've got an old man and a young child that are like, this is it.
yeah,
We have to get out of here. This guy has clearly become a Darth,
yes,
like a Sith Lord. We need to get out of here. Like I don't see us making out of this, even though my plan is to keep us all together and fighting him. The only way he does say, the only way we're going to win against this guy, or even hold our own, is if we all fight together against him. But
yeah.
I'm smart enough to be like,
And it wasn't like he took off and ran like right off the bat. He sized him up. He tried to fight him. And he
he
realized
realized
very quickly, hey, this isn't gonna work.
this isn't this isn't an inquisitor.
Yeah,
This isn't another inquisitor. This is a dark lord that has
yes.
just shown up on this planet to take us on. Like he could have been flattered. Oh, wow.
Right.
The Empire
They
is
are
like, this
thinking about
guy,
me.
you do think about me, like they are worried about me. But yeah, it's excellent because it takes a lot of, again, once again, we have dynamic laser or lightsaber battles between the Daki, Devon, and Darth Maul, and like all of them trying to fight against him. And again, it breaking up with Lawson, Riley, and Two Boots and Vario fighting against the stormtroopers in order to get to a ship and get
Yeah.
out of there. And some of that, the shooting action was great because it would come across the camera, the screen, and it make you feel like it was live action stuff
Yes.
going on. So
Yes.
yeah, I was really impressed with. I mean, overall, obviously the animation was just ridiculous, but again, the breaking up of the scenes and having and not making any group useless in that storyline at any moment.
Yeah.
Because you could be like, well, what are these humans and this robot? Like that's
No, they
here's
made
Darth
you
Vader.
care about the non-Force users storyline
Sure,
because they were trying to escape. And yeah, like obviously we love the lightsabers. We love people using the Force, but they found a way to make us care about the non-Force users also trying to escape. And I think they did a great job giving them purpose and trying to have them escape. And, Two Boots annoyed me. And I always tell people whenever there's an animated show, whether it's the Bad Batch, Clone Wars, whatever, there will always, always, always be a child involved. Because
sure.
regardless of how old we are, at the end of the day, they're trying to bring in a younger generation. They don't need to keep throwing Luke Skywalker and everything on our screen. So they're bringing in the young kids. So when I saw Devon, I was annoyed at, not annoyed. I was like, oh, what are we gonna do? But then they made her mature and made me care about her story. Then I see Lawson's son, and I was like, oh, here we go, father-son relationship. This is gonna. But they didn't overdo it. They didn't. They leaned into it, but they didn't like overly lean into it. And they made me care about him getting off planet and being with his dad, which ultimately didn't happen. But they did a good job with those characters and Two Boots being somewhat radicalized and all like that was I enjoyed their little beast story.
Right, because I mean, like you even get like little glimpses into how Lawson was raising Riley that we don't ever see because when he hands him the gun, he says, "Remember how I taught you."
Yeah.
Like at some point, he's thought things are a threat to like I might not have always been at your games, but I've done my best to try to keep you safe in the
Yes.
only ways I know.
Yeah.
Like,
And you
and
yeah, he could kind of peer into the future, if you will, just because I mean, he was one of the ones or the one that did not want the Empire brought to the planet. Like
right,
he was a man of the law, but even he was like, yeah, but like there's a
this is
line.
different. Right, this
Yeah.
is a different level of law. Like
And yeah, like
these
you could
guys
say
aren't
that he
law.
was preparing Riley for that inevitability of the Empire eventually showing up.
Yeah. Yeah, just because your mom works for them doesn't make them the good guys.
Right.
Like that's which is interesting because as like we go through the episode and we have a lot of again a lot of fighting. I thought it was great to watch that it especially the scene where Vader is fighting Daki and Maul and he's force choking Maul and kind of just
Yes.
not, I don't want to say like he's not giving Daki any kind of, but he's like, this is an old dude. Like
Yeah.
I can barely pay attention to what he's doing, but I'm gonna be force choking Maul at the same time, and it's
It was good. It just they do such a good job of showing in that moment how powerful he is. Because this I tell people I was like a debate online about, Darth Vader and if he was ever redeemable. And I'm always like the Youngling Massacre in episode 3 like made him irredeemable to me. But if you read the books and comics, you see like this man was a menace for like 20 straight
right.
years. Just one man army just annihilating people. And they do such a good job of showing in this moment, this isn't Star Wars Rebels, which is like 15 years or so down the road. Like this is a couple years, give or take, after Order 66. So he is recently Vader and just seeing like, yeah, this dude, like he does not play around. I mean, he does because he was playing with his food, but like this is a dangerous individual.
But he still took it. He even though he was like, and we can say like he was lazily fighting against, knowing that he was still much more powerful. This is also the first time we've seen him go up against Jedi or anybody with some sort of force power.
Yes.
Because in Rogue One, he's just killing
He's just, yeah,
randos,
just the
like humans,
crewman.
randos. Like they're not like he's even though that the scene is amazing, it's just guys with stun guns. I
Yes.
mean, like you see him and you're like, oh my god, you realize like, oh how terrifying he is. But this is the first time that we get him having to take on people with a force experience, the having the force,
And he had
and
them
him
running.
still.
All three of them were running from him.
And even though it took two of them to get him to his knee,
Yeah.
I mean, still, he only dropped to a knee. He didn't
Yeah.
blow down the bridge, the stoneway. It's both of them took it all, like in order to force, and all he did was drop to his knee. It was good to
Yeah.
see. It was like it's not saying by any means that he's weak, but then him have to kind of work.
It took a Jedi Master, a former Darth, because Maul doesn't really consider himself Darth anymore, but he
Right.
was an apprentice. But I would say if we're going on the scale of Padawan to Jedi, he was at minimum a Jedi Knight at this point.
Sure.
Like, so you took a Master, a Jedi Knight, like, and a well-trained apprentice to make him slightly stumble. Like, yeah, that doesn't make him weak. And I saw most people understand that. There was like maybe two people I saw online that were like, I just don't like how they made him weaker. It's like those were three trained force users.
Right,
Again, like what are we talking about? Like, and he still won.
right.
And he probably would have beaten them over at the swamp. Like they ran and he had to chase them. That's the only reason why the battle went as long as it did. And again, he was using one hand for part of it. Like he was taking them seriously, but if he was like truly, truly, truly locked in, it probably would have been faster. But it took a master, a Jedi Knight on the Sith side, and an apprentice to slow him down.
People like Darth bringing down the stones on top of him, and even he's still just like,
Yeah.
but like even then, it's again, this is the first time. Again, people like it made him weaker. This is the first time he's come across people fighting him with the Force.
Yeah, yeah. Like, what's your comparison?
Like you don't have one. I mean, like this is a couple years after Order 66 has been done, and our only like if you're going through all canon, the only other time that we have seen him now is from Rogue One.
Well, he did fight Reva in the Kenobi series, but even that, he never actually even took out his own lightsaber. He was like dodging her. He was using force, like at no point, and then he took her lightsaber away and then split it in half, gave her the other half, and was like, okay, like again, he was toying with her. This is the first time because that was years down the road. 'Cause I think Leia was like 7 or 8 at that point. This is a couple, 3 to 4 years, if that, after Order
Right,
66. So this is like the first time for us, and it took three people. Like,
right,
what are we talking about? Made him weak? Like, stop it, stop
right.
it.
Like there was nothing weak about like he was he you. They did a good job of showing him working in this fight,
Yes,
but not struggling in this fight. If
yes,
that makes sense.
exactly,
Like
exactly.
he's giving it effort, but he's not struggling. He still clearly understands I can win this. Like I can win this fight. However, I'm I'm having to exert myself to some extent.
Right, yeah. It's like, yeah, maybe I break into a sweat, but like if I'm taking on three trained force users, breaking into a sweat, like that's a fair trade-off. Like,
Right. Yeah, like I could probably still wear them down because
yeah.
eventually when Maul does rejoin Devon with her fight against the two Inquisitors, where he's like, he's got to make a decision. Just do I still fight with Daki and fight this guy, or do I go and help the girl that I'm wanting to become my apprentice? And yes, he does kind of force Daki.
That was good. That like
Into
every now and then
Vader.
they need to remind you like this man is evil, like just so we
Right.
know.
Right. Which Lawson, I believe, does see happen,
Yeah,
but Devon does not see that
correct.
happen. So the one person that could probably tell her, hey, Maul shoved your master into this Dark Lord and kind of like hurried his demise is, Lawson doesn't make it because he sacrifices himself for his son to get out of there. Yeah, she definitely doesn't see that. All she does see is Dagi being killed by Vader. The screams were reminiscent of uh, Obi-Wan saying
Yes,
Inquisitors
seeing
were being
Qui-Gon
killed
get cut down.
by Maul.
Yes,
I know also in this episode we had the Imperial March, we had the Duel of the Fates
yes.
as one of the openings, and we also had the music of when Anakin loses his mother and starts to turn towards the dark
Yes,
side.
yes, 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 yes. Anakin's no, that wasn't Anakin's dark deeds. But yes, I know what you're talking
Yes,
about over on Tatooine. I
yes,
did catch that.
yes. The music was also used for that. So again, like we have always stated, you don't always have to invoke the Skywalkers in everything that you do, but having those little Easter eggs and those little sound cues, even though yes, of course we have Darth Vader, but even just having those, again, him dealing with other people out in the universe. It's a big universe, and yes, everybody's scared of Darth, but have him take on different people. Like
Yeah.
that's It's a big universe. It does. He doesn't have to just fight the Skywalkers. Like
Exactly.
there's tons of Jedi that are hiding out. Not all of them were wiped out, but I mean they're scattered. So having him show up, take on this again, Devon. Clearly, this is watching her master get killed. Brings in that hate when she then just starts hacking away at the Inquisitor, and Maul's watching like that's
Yeah.
exactly
I
how
mean,
it
this
would
is
have
what we
ended.
predicted, which I mean, it wasn't like it was hard to predict, but we said that the Master was going to die and Maul was going to use it. Now, did we expect it to be Vader to be the one doing the killing? No, I thought it was going to be the Inquisitors, but it still works. She is fully ready to. It's a culmination of everything we've seen throughout the season of them being on the run and having to beg for scraps from
Right.
people and Maul kind of being like, is this the life you want to live? Like, you're better than these people. And him just planting the seeds and saying, like, yeah, I'm not great, but the Empire is worse. And him showing her that he was willing to team up with her and fight against the Empire, who they are actively running from. Like, she saw in real time that he is also being hunted by the Empire. He's also willing to fight against them. He's willing to put himself in harm's way multiple
For his
times
friends.
for
She
his
doesn't
friends.
understand that
He told
he
them to
doesn't have
go.
friends.
Yeah.
She doesn't understand that he doesn't look at them like friends, but she saw him taking up for his friends and was
Yes.
like, wow, like this
Yeah.
everything I've heard about this guy. Like she's like, I'm
Telling
sorry
them
about
to
your friends.
run in the cave, telling her and the master to go when they were fighting the Inquisitors. So he took on the Inquisitors with a busted, melted hip and allowed them to kind of escape before he was the last one to go. He, in her mind, has rewritten his whole story and visually for her. Does she trust him? No. But she sees that he's not the fully evil person that was described to her through the Jedi lore that
Sure.
killed Qui-Gon and fought Obi-Wan and was the Siege of Mandalore. Because I'm sure, like, she's heard of him, but he showed her his layers. And then when her master dies, like, that was kind of the nail in the coffin. Everything that he said would happen started to happen, and now she's ready to become his apprentice. Will she fully lean into the dark side? Will she still push back on certain things? I don't know.
And also now she's willing to use him.
Yes.
Now she's like, okay, it's not just you like for some reason you're really I'm really suspicious of just what you want out of me, your need for me. But now that I have a purpose for you as well, and it's my revenge, I'm willing to be used so I can use you as well.
Yes.
Like you now serve me a purpose as well. And
Agreed.
so, right, like now she's like, this isn't just a one-way street. Now this is I've also got a purpose in this relationship.
Yeah.
And it's to get out what I like, it's to get because he says, like if you save me, I'll teach you how to get revenge because he knows that's what she wants.
That is what she wants. He's going to feed into that. And you look at the remaining characters. His whole squad is dead. So you've got Lawson's kid. You've got the little minion. You've got Devon and himself. They're
And
going
two
to meet up
boots.
with and two boots. Well, yeah, okay. So the moral compass is still there. We're going to get to the second season and they're going to be involved with Crimson Dawn. Now that they're off planet, I'm curious what the plan is for Two Boots and Lawson's
Riley.
kid
Yeah.
because they're not going to Crimson. Like, you bring Devon to Crimson Dawn and say, this is my apprentice. They're like, okay, cool, another Force user. Then you say, oh, yeah, and here's this cop robot and cop's son come to this crime syndicate. Like,
Right.
what's the plan for them?
Yeah, like
And
are
I
we
think
ditching them between
I think we're
seasons?
ditching them. I think they might be involved. I'm curious because they could have just made Lawson hate the Empire. I think it was deliberate and the mom could have been dead like that, but they intentionally made the mother alive and made her working for the Empire.
Sure.
Now that the dad is dead, I feel like Two Boots and the kid are going to be like, we should call mom. Now, the problem is going to be your mom works for the Empire,
Who just sent inquisitors to
who just sent
save.
Inquisitors and all that. Now, I'd like to believe that the mom isn't fully evil, and she would try to take in her son and keep him hidden, maybe. But I think that they will be around in the second season, but I don't know how much because I just can't see Maul caring about those two, like
Sure,
at
sure.
all.
Oh yeah, no, that's no. I don't think he was even concerned about them even during the fight. Like
No, he needed
those
them to
that
get to find the exit route out of the city. That was pretty much all he
right,
needed them for.
right. And Devon wasn't like she wasn't at that time willing to leave Riley, and she still very much was like that. This is who I'm in charge of watching over
Yeah.
and stuff. Yeah, it'll be interesting because I don't know how you have Riley in Two Boots going seeking help from the Empire when stormtroopers have been firing on them
Right, because you could pitch it as
religiously.
like, well, my dad was a fugitive and I was just being drug along, but like I don't know if the Empire will fall for that. So it's like you're still Riley is still a fugitive. Two Boots is for sure a fugitive. Riley could try and argue that like I was an innocent bystander, my family drugged me into this, but I think they're both going to be fugitives. I think the only reason why they'll still be around is because Devon, even in her rage, is like, no, you're not going to kill or just kick
Right,
them out. She's going to want to ensure their safety at least a little bit, but it's
right.
not going to be with the crime syndicate. Like, there's no way.
Yeah,
So, where they go, what they do, I don't know. They could write them off completely. Who knows how far the time jump is? Like, that could
right.
be they are completely gone. And
And they just mentioned them in passing, like
yeah,
in an
like we dropped
episode,
them
like
off on Tatooine, and like we don't know what they're doing.
of course it has to be Tatooine.
Yes. It's written in the Star Wars contract. You got to mention Tatooine at least
Of
once.
course. So yeah, we end with Maul very much sliding back into his Dark Lord Sith role. Like now I've got myself an apprentice. Now I'm
Yes.
legit again. I'm on my way. I have a bone to pick with Sidious and his apprentice. So his other. So yeah. Overall, like I said, thought it was great. Thought it was a great series. I like when they do. It's kind of this is kind of like same but not as I was saw that they're doing a Donnie Yen John Wick movie, where he was the one he was Kane in John Wick 4.
Oh, right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So everybody's like, oh, but I like as far as like the ballerina and like this, I like that it's all the same universe, but you're looking at it from different characters' points of view. Like if it we've established that John Wick is this big assassin universe, then start following different assassins. It doesn't have to be just John Wick. You've got her, um
You
you've
got
got
the
the
ballerina
ballerina,
and
and now
their
you're
whole
gonna
storyline of
right,
defenders or whatever.
right, and then you're gonna go with Donnie. And so I kind of feel the same way about Star Wars. It's a huge universe. You can incorporate things of that universe in every storyline. You can pick, like I said, we had Vader in this one, and of course he's the easy go-to, but it's still dealing with the Empire being on a planet that is oppressing people. You have Force sensitive people hiding out from them who are, conflicted about the Jedi and is their order the right one to follow. Um, but I like that it was you had this one where it's like everybody just gave the Empire.
Yeah, and I mean that was the great thing about Star Wars Rebels, which obviously was still part of the Skywalker saga, but it
Sure.
was about a whole different planet, a whole different set of characters who hates the Empire and they're fighting. 'Cause it is a massive galaxy, and it's good to see these other stories.
Right.
And yeah, like Vader and Maul show up in Rebels, but they are side characters to a different story about these other characters that are in the same universe, dealing with the same problems, but at their level. And that's what I appreciated from this show. And I hope that we get more of it. I mean, Bad Batch I thought was really well done as well, showing these clones after the war and what they have to do. And again, There's so many stories, so many planets. Like, use these characters, and you can bring in elements because yeah, this is Vader might, you might see Vader
Because
passing by.
right, because he does ultimately, like, we can talk about the Empire, you can talk about the Empire, you can talk about the Jedi, but you always need he is the symbol of that at that
Yes.
moment. It's like you can talk about it as this big abstract thing, and you can show the elements in like Andor as far as like the oppression that's going on. But ultimately, the payoff is when they talk about the big bad, and it's this looming thing, and it's kind of this abstract idea. But then when you see the stormtroopers show up, and you see the Death Star being like, you still want those tangible things that make up what they are all afraid of.
Yes.
Like make the story big, make it, make it scary and stuff like that. But then ultimately you sneaking in, like I said, the physical, tangible things that symbolize the Empire, it's great because by then you are more scared when they
Yes.
show up. I mean, who can argue that when the stuff happens in Andor and that big outside thing and the stormtroopers all show up, that's not just terrifying at that moment, and they can't hit anything. Like we've been raised to believe that stormtroopers were kind of like feckless and they can't hit anything. But by the time that story had built, you were like, oh
Yeah,
crap! Like there they are. There is the big bad that we had only just been talking about.
for sure.
So using those things that we are all aware of and have been raised with and have been out there, invaders, stormtroopers, Death Star, it's not terrible to bring those things in, but once you've told a great overarching story that makes you then scared of that boogeyman.
Yes. 100%
Because
agree.
again, that's like again going back to the John Wick thing, is they had established outside of before we even knew is the establishment of him being the big boogeyman. So the fact that everybody talks about him like he's this other, we hadn't seen that he had been the other yet.
Right. Exactly.
And so by the time he becomes the other, we're like, oh, we've already the entire storyline has established that we're supposed to be terrified of this guy. So I
Exactly.
don't mind those things. I don't mind when they bring in like Vader or Palpatine or Maul or anything like that, because let us know, give us a good story to make us afraid or hate the Empire even more before you bring those things in.
Yeah. Agreed.
Because that's because like I said, they did a good job with this because the Empire was talked about as far as like a boogeyman. And so then when that Imperial cruiser showed up, you were like, oh,
Yep. You see it
yeah,
hovering over the
yeah,
planet, and you're like, oh man, yeah, because they did a good job of building up that fear.
right.
And
And
you
the
said when the
oppression
Empire
and
shows up, they
everybody,
never leave. Like that's what he said, and you saw the shift from episode to episode from before the Empire got there and the minute they got there, everything shifted.
everything changed. So very much enjoyed it. Yeah, like I wish I wish they would kind of keep that darkness. I mean, I know they're not going to because I have seen the first 25 minutes of Mandalorian and Grogu, which I hate that title, by the way. I hate that title of that movie.
Terrible. Like zero thought was put into it.
It's zero. Um, I think they could, now have only seen some of it, done a better job with it. Again, I'm only basing this off of what I've seen, but I can't imagine they change the formula too much. Is you have a really good story, you have really good action, but when you're cutting away to Baby Yoda about every 2 to 3 minutes, and it's like, um, you kill the kind of gravitas and the seriousness of the situation.
They backed themselves into a corner. I love Baby Yoda. I think Grogu is great. I still remember during COVID that first episode when he opens, it's a bounty hunter, dark
Right.
episode, and he opens the little hovering thing and you see some Baby Yoda ears and just the collective gasp that was felt across the world of everyone watching that episode. It was incredible. and I like the character, but they sold the merch. It was basically the Ewoks on steroids. They handcuffed themselves to that character. This movie is for the people that I won't say it's not for Star Wars fans, but I think it's for the people that like Star Wars and love Baby Yoda and love the dynamic of the cowboy and his little alien. Like
Right.
that's who it's for. I'm preparing myself for that. And then I'm hoping going forward with, Starfighter with
We got
Ryan Gosling and all, like they kind of get back to this more have your
Andorish
jokes.
type.
Yeah. But I think this, like, they got into the writer's room and they realized that we have to have Grogu burping, eating macaroons once every 5 minutes. Like it's like the laugh track. You're watching a Seinfeld or whatever, and you got to have a joke every like that. Unfortunately,
Yeah.
that's what I've prepared for. I think it'll be cool. I think it'll be visually stunning, but I
Oh,
think the story is going to be
graphics are
very,
great. The
yeah,
graph, I mean, the CGI is amazing. Um, Even the score is kind of interesting in parts because it gives you real Blade Runner, early 80s sci-fi feel. There's a part where they fly into this planet to take on a job. And it's like this like almost electronic kind of vibe that he's bringing. So it isn't just the Mandalorian score that you're hearing, but now you have this, and you've got like, and it's just lit, like I said, like very Tron Blade Runner ish.
yeah.
It's like, ooh, cool 80s, but then it's like then every like 3 minutes you cut to baby. And you're like, we don't have to do this. Like he could be integral in the story somehow, other than just doing cute stuff every
The
couple
first
minutes.
two seasons of The Mandalorian, they did a very good job of it, where it was serious, it was them on their adventures, bounty hunting, and you had the funniness, but it was very well balanced. By the third season, they had fallen victim to the Twitter, Facebook, Instagram loves Baby Yoda. Even non-Star Wars fans knew who Baby Yoda was, and they're like,
Right.
that's what the people want to see. They lean. It's similar to what happened with the character of Thor in Thor: Love and Thunder. You had Ragnarok. It had the jokes. It was serious. It was well balanced. And then in Thor: Love and Thunder, they flipped it completely. I think that's what, unfortunately, they were chasing the sales and the views and the clicks. That's what this movie is. And I think that's what the reviews, I think that's what the critic reviews are going to show.
Yeah, I wish there wasn't such a love Guardian of the Galaxy movies, love those. So this is not a criticism of that that trilogy at all. But every space adventure doesn't need to be a Guardians of the Galaxy type movie now.
Couldn't
And
agree
I'm
more.
worried that that's what we're going to get with Supergirl.
Yeah.
Um, Now it's kind of going towards that with Mandalorian and Grogu. I worry that every space adventure that we get is not a serious space adventure. It's a Guardians of the Galaxy ripoff, spinoff, and
Yeah.
I'm not. We got it. I don't need more of those.
Right.
Show me something
No,
different.
I definitely agree. And being a huge Star Wars fan, I'm going to see it. But I also don't disagree. Like, Guardians of the Galaxy was not supposed to do as well as it did. You took a bunch of, I won't even say B, you took a bunch of C tier characters and they were making money, more money than some of the main Avengers
Right.
movies, this ragtag group of people. And it was funny, it was different, and everyone copy and pasted it, and they haven't figured out how to stop doing it, unfortunately.
So, oh, so, so that's the reason. Again, that we didn't mean to like end this on a downer, but that's why
Right.
actually we enjoy this Maul Shadow Lord
Yes,
series. Is it wasn't you did have a little bit of the humor, get touches of humor with Vario and Tulu, but it didn't overwhelm. You
correct.
let it be a space adventure because it is happening on another planet, but it's with elements that we know of as far as the Empire and Darth Vader and Stormtroopers, but it kept it still serious. So I think I'm like, if anything, I'm like, please let it be and show people that that's what people are craving and wanting. So
Yes.
hopefully we get more of this. I know they're working on it, and can't wait to see season 2 of it. We're gonna end that here, and I guess next week we've got, like I said, we've got Punisher coming up.
Yeah.
Good stuff. So that will be all for this one.